Okay, well, hey everyone, I'm Saski and I am hosting Disabled, Queer and Here Pride. So we are getting people who are shining the light on the LGBTQ plus disabled community and the community as a whole, allies that really are making a positive change within our society. I'm really excited to bring on our celebrity guest that we are talking to in a moment. But I just want to give you a bit of an update about this person. They are an ally to the LGBTQ plus community. They are an activist. They have their own anti-bullying foundation, which we will talk a bit more about. I'm not naming it yet because it will give away who this person is. But they are also, did I mention, a Rugby World Cup champion winner with an MBE. People, it can only be Mr. Ben Cohen. Ben, how are you doing?
Well, that's a great intro. Yeah, I'm all good. Thank you very much. I feel like I was a rugby player a long, long, long time ago.
Oh, I know, yeah, but you look at you still got, at least you've still got the arms for the biceps for it, right?
Yeah, it's heading south. It's heading south as I get older.
Oh, bless. It's happening to the best of us, so don't worry, Ben. I'm with you.
Yeah. It's hard to try and keep trim.
Yeah. Well, especially in lockdown, right? Because everyone's eating and drinking more. It's been a bit tricky for most, me included. How have you been getting on in lockdown?
I looked at it as a bit of a silver lining, to be honest with you, a bit of a reset. It was, I have a good setup at home, so I was one of the fortunate ones and a bit of space. So it was nice to just focus on family, a bit on my health and well-being. And to say that I think we get so caught up with everyday life, you know, prior, especially before lockdown, this coronavirus, can't be good for. And I think what lockdown did was actually shine the light on your family and then being in one place and a bit of old fashioned just being on your phone or computer all the time. You go out for walks, which we pretty much don't do so much now, or go and play old games and some of I did as a kid. So it was a good reset.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely that time, like you say, to reset, put things in perspective and really focus on what's important in life. So I'm with you on that, especially for family. So Disabled, Queer and Here is about spotlighting people with disabilities within our community and the disability movement in itself. I want to just talk a bit more about your disability because for you, it's you are clinically deaf, I believe. You want to tell us a little bit more about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've not really known anything different. I've had tinnitus, which is off the chart, all my life, and my hearing wasn't progressing worse as I've got older. I've got 43% hearing now, but if I didn't have the tinnitus, it wouldn't be so bad. But the tinnitus is something that is really high pitch. It misses it. It basically blocks the sound from anything from the front of the mouth, so the foot, the cut, the t, and things like that. So I have to lip read. I learned to lip read to patch things together. So the sounds that I've got the low frequencies, and I've obviously profoundly deaf at high frequencies. So in rugby terms, it wasn't necessarily a struggle because I realised that I couldn't hear, but I didn't really understand that I was deaf because it was normal for me. I know that sounds a bit strange, but I realised. Yeah, when I put up with it, I've always had screaming in my ears from since I was a young boy, and just sort of didn't think anything of it. But in rugby terms and playing sport, what was very for me was that we're all weak at something. Some people would say they aren't. We all have a weakness, and my weakness was if I was going to play team sport, wasn't my physical attribute; it was my hearing. And I'm the second highest try scorer for England of all time. And it's because purely for the fact I couldn't hear anyone to pass the ball to, so I just get the ball and run. But I made my weakness my strength, and I used to commentate out loud and talk and communicate with people around me. But also, I realised actually being loud, you got the ball more. So I used to scream and shout, and everyone used to pass me the ball. Like, yes, this is great. So really try to make my weakness as my strength, which was the most important thing. And I think when you're in a position like that, And there's people that are obviously far worse than I am. That you have to be an optimist. You have to have your glass half full.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know when you've spoken about, you didn't pass the ball much. Your teammates thought you were just ignoring them. So I bet that works really well in the pub when it was your round as well, did it?
Absolutely. I always used to be going to the toilet at that point. I tell you what, though, it's really interesting because everyone used to think that I was incredibly arrogant. And I used to walk past people and they would speak to me and they would go, "What an ignorant so-and-so, isn't he? We said hello." And the fact is I couldn't hear it. I just couldn't hear them. And again, I didn't know I was deaf until later on in my rugby career. And in the whole World Cup final speech before we went to the World Cup final, Clive Woodward sat us down and give us that, the Al Pacino speech, in any given Sunday, this iconic team speech. He's given that speech. He's given it, and he's like, this is the pinnacle of your career. You're never going to play in a game like this, and all that kind of stuff. And just before he starts talking, I'm sitting on this chair, and I look over to the side. I start reading the headline, just this paper. And I didn't even think I was reading it very long, and it was on the floor. And as I look up, everyone's walking out of the room. I was like, "Oh no, I've missed the speech! I've missed this speech!" And I go up to Clive, and I said, "Clive, I've missed the whole speech." And he goes, "I know you did, Ben." I said, "What do I need to know?" He goes, "Ball and run." I went, "All right, okay, I will do." Terrible.
Oh, blimey. So that's it. Yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? And for a lot of people who have, a hard of hearing or deaf or wear hearing aids, I know from experience from friends or even as I'm coaching people with disabilities, they will say that actually they don't feel confident in speaking up about it and letting people know, and they kind of prefer to just sit, in the background and shy away from it. So, it is something that, people really need to have more confidence about. So on that, I know that you are actually working hard or have been working hard as well, to make rugby more accessible for hard of hearing and also particularly young deaf players. I mean, do you think it's changing much within the sport and sport in general?
I don't have a huge amount to do. Yes, I help support where I can, but that's very limited. I think sport has to change. I think sport has to be diverse and accepting, and it has to cater. We all see the abled sport people at the forefront of it, but everyone should be able to play sport, regardless of what their disability, sex, race, gender is. And unfortunately, sometimes that does play a part. But we are a lot better now. We are looking at homophobia, transphobia in sport now. That rugby's made a big leap into that. We know a lot of work with racism, although it's still around in football. I mean, we do talk about it now, and sport has a major impact on people's lives day in, day out, and they work and live around the sport. So, in my opinion, a sportsman or woman have an extra bow or an extra string to their bow, whether they like it or not. They have to be role models, and you see people coming out in team sports. They do it to the end of their career, not necessarily feel that they can come out in it. So there has to be, and people have to adapt, and they have to provide it. And the RFU I do speak to people that who are deaf in sport. There was a lady who's for England rugby, who's deaf. I spoke to the coach. What do I do? How can I help her? So yeah, it's nice to be. It's nice to be able to speak to people and help with your experiences of playing at obviously elite and high level, to be able to pass that experience down, which is really important. And then I do feel that it's making great strides in, I think, generally across the board. I know some are going to be further down the line than others, but it is a talking point. You're going to tell me now there isn't, I know.
No. This is why I love.
I knew you were going to say this is actually the truth, Ben.
No, well, statistics say, Ben, actually. No, Basically, this is what I love about you, because you know you are a role model, you are an ally to the LGBTQ plus community, you are someone that does speak up for people, you know, for the underrepresented groups, and there are not a lot of people that necessarily would do, you know, and you use your platform to highlight that. And with that, you've obviously set up, you know, the Ben Cohen Stand Up Foundation, which is your anti-bullying foundation, and that's, you know, helping stop anti-bullying in the workplace and schools, and working to support organisations and charities to improve that inequality. So, I mean, tell us a bit more about that. How's that going?
Yeah, I mean, when I set up in 2011, people thought I was nuts, right? You know, what's a straight sportsman, world champion, coming to the end of his career, setting up an anti-bullying foundation, which is, you know, not just around bullying. It's that broad spectrum of why people get bullied and what they get bullied for. And that's around equality, diversity, and we look at a very broad range of bullying. And so, I mean, it came around because my dad was murdered. My dad was murdered in 2000, protecting someone. And that for me was probably the catalyst, after being angry and went off the rails a little bit, to inspire greatness. And that greatness was to become the best winger in the world, best player in the world in my position, win a World Cup. But ultimately, you know, when I was coming to the end of my career, there was a fan page on Facebook that was set up in honour of myself. It was 37,000 people on it, and they're all men. And I didn't know what the hell that was for. And it was set up by a guy in Paris. And actually, once I took this fan page over, and I discovered that I was an apparent gay icon, which I hadn't got a clue what that was. And I actually felt, you know what?
It means
it's probably because I posed in my underwear at some point.
Yeah, I think.
I thought, actually, I do share a story with these guys. Yes, I'm straight, but I was suffered at the hands of other people, and how devastating that can be. So I established as a social commercial brand. We sold products to support the cause. We wanted to be a grant-based organisation, support organisations doing real-world work, highlight what they do, give them money if they apply for a grant, appearance or media, or one or two or three of those. And we had great success. You know, we built a brand with Nike. We set up a Nike coalition group. We had great partners in Kills, Microsoft. I set that up in America in 2011, and that was it's a great success. I'd done my job. I let that get taken over, the LGBT Sports Foundation that is now, and I set the foundation up here in UK in 2012. But it's hard. Foundation work is hard. Yeah. Really tough. You know, it's really more competitive than business. You know, trying to get the money, everyone's, you know, doing the same work, and we try and get people to share data, you know, do different work so the money goes further. You know, it is a difficult place.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the work you achieve is amazing.
Well, this is it. Yeah, it's all for a good cause, isn't it? And it's, you know, you are really reaching out to so many amazing, like I say, organisations and people, and in it, the work is life-changing for many people, you know. So just rounding up, knowing, you know, as a positive role model, as a gay icon, and also as, you know, just an amazing person that you are, because I always say, oh, you know, I've only met Ben once, but it was just such a lovely, down-to-earth person. You know, there'll be people tuning into Disabled, Queer and Here today, or on Saturday, because it's pre-recorded, but on Saturday, and, you know, they'll be hearing your story, they'll be seeing what you've done, and learning more about you. But they will still not maybe have the confidence to, you know, to go for their goal or achieve their dreams because of their disability. Seeing how you've overcome yours, I mean, what sort of motivation or advice would you give to those people who maybe felt that was a barrier to stop them achieving their goals?
My words of encouragement would be is to not give a shit what other people. It's important that you go out and enjoy and want to achieve what you want to achieve. And I think that's important. I think there's a lot of energy sappers out there that want to bring you down and be negative. Try not to surround yourself with those people and live life. Go and get it.
Absolutely.
That's it.
wise words once again from Ben Cohen there. Thank you so much, Ben. I really appreciate your time. And I'm a bit of a smoothie with my words, Ben. Do you think I'm quite good like that, am I?
Yeah, you make me blush. That's what it is. You're just too good at it.
Oh, thank you so much. We'll make sure we get that in when we do the interview cut. But no, listen, Ben, I really appreciate your time and loving everything you're doing and your work and stuff. And thanks so much. I know people who are tuning in at Disabled Queer in Here, it's going to be real inspirational words to see. And it is true. Just bloody do it. Don't let anyone hold you back, because we're the people that we drive our own seats, basically. We've got to move it forward to be the best version of ourselves, and you're living proof that you can achieve when you really put your mind to it. So thank you so much for giving us your time.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it. And
thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. I'll speak to you soon. Thank you so much.